parents have sent their children in that path.
The knowledge is not just knowledge of religion and knowledge of language. It's also the knowledge of life.
It is, yeah.
And this is where I feel sometimes our scholars today are disconnected from life. So he has the religious knowledge and the language knowledge, but how do we apply it to our life nowadays?
I think the importance of that is reflected in we want our children to be doctors, lawyers, engineers, and so on. So why don't we want our kids to be religious scholars who've grown up in the West, perhaps understand life here, and then go and study the religion, and come back to be able to, with some authority, to be able to talk about Islam.
Or in a better way, why not be both, a great doctor and a great religious, and apply because the Quran deals with a lot of medical stuff, and apply both. A great engineer and he has the religious knowledge, and we have to mix both. The earlier scholars in Islam had both, and that's why they were successful. But we should not separate just Islam from real life, because Islam is our way of life. To be a good doctor and practicing Islam, and knowing Islam and practicing, and as you said, do da'wah, let people know. And this is, as it says in the Quran, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنَ قَوْلٌ مِّنْ دَعَا اللَّهُ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. The best thing is those who do the da'wah for Allah and do good work and say, I'm a Muslim. So it's not just doing a good work because it's me, it's because I'm a Muslim. There's a lot more to come. We have to go for a break. Please stand by. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Muslim Chronicles. We're reflecting on the months of Ramadan, where the Muslim community fasts between dawn and sunset. And one of the things about the months of Ramadan is we have what we call Zakatul Fitr, where a Muslim has to give to the poor by the end of the months of Ramadan. And it's a set amount, and the idea is, as we mentioned earlier, at the end of the month of Ramadan there is a celebration, and with this celebration, if you give to the poor too, you will be able to they will be able to celebrate with you too. What's your thoughts, Fiaz?
That it's obviously it's one of the pillars in our religion, just as fasting is, and it's done as a means to create balance. Obviously, there's a disproportionate, spread of wealth in the world, and I think that's
seeing it more and more these days.
We are, unfortunately, and I believe that this is one of the means that Islam has in place to offset that imbalance. That the imbalance amongst the rich and the poor, and the class and the unclasses, is just something that the classes. It's just something that has to be brought closer and closer together, and I believe that in Islam that zakat is one of those ways. That absolutely is.
And zakat is mandatory. It's one of the things that Muslims have to do if they have attained a certain amount of wealth, that they have to do this. And I think it's a great time during the month of Ramadan in order to calculate your zakat and to disperse it at that time, because as we all know, during the month of Ramadan the rewards are multiplied. So this is a great opportunity. Pick a charity, pick someone in need, and give your zakat. This is important.
Another issue, of course, is getting up and to pray at night, because Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says one of the best things in life is to pray 2 rak'ahs at night, to get up and pray 2 rak'ahs. And subhanallah, I don't, obviously we get up early to eat, and I try to get up a little earlier so I can pray and also look outside and mediation, because Islam encourages us to look at the heavens and earth, and because it says if you look at the skies and look and wonder, you'd see the glory of Allah. And the last few nights, subhanallah, was clear. I don't know if you've noticed how clear it is. From here in Toronto, it's so beautiful to watch the skies the last few nights, and honestly you see the glory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Did you have the experience?
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit. I'm actually a little bit north of Toronto, so we get to see it a little bit better. But
you're lucky then.
And it is something that you marvel on at all times, and it's something that you could, if you start in Ramadan and you take it spiritually to affect you, that it carries on throughout. There's and I know I'm not going to quote this properly, but the act of the spiral, that there's always a spiral in terms of everything, the galaxies, the double helix, and even in Islam, it's just something that you got to keep coming and elevate more to, and elevate yourself greater to.
I think it also brings in the fact that I think our entertainment has become so complex, a television, LCD player, HD, TV. I mean, we don't really need those things. I mean, go out into nature, and enjoy what God has provided for you. These are the simple pleasures in life that more and more people are paying to get. More and more people are paying to go back to the simpler way of life because they find that their life is too busy.
Interesting you mentioned about the MP3 players and things like that. Because in the Quran, when we were young, and for me that's 40 years ago or over 40 years ago, it tells you that in the day of judgment you'll have your book and your whole life will be in front of you. Today you look at the MP3 player and you have 100 gig of drive and how much music or shows you can keep on. And I honestly believe all this technology brings us closer to Allah, where it wasn't imaginable how all your life was going to be in a book and searchable. Today it's so easy. You look at your iPod or whatever and you see how much, and that's technology today. How is it going to be in 20, 40, 100 years? And it brings us closer to Allah to tell us these are things are doable. Yes, in the day of judgment your whole life will be in front of you in a book you can read.
That's right. It is something that you should be. I mean, obviously with technology, there's a physical astonishment to see something like that. But it brings us more to the realization that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, all powerful, like God, all powerful. He can. There's nothing that cannot be done, and it is something that within your hands you would hold your entire life and hold it up as something that you're proud of, or
inshallah will be proud of.
Inshallah, all of us will be proud.
One of the things, I was talking to a couple of friends today about Ramadan who happen to be non-Muslim, and they were asking me, so Ramadan moves every year? I said, yeah, it's based on the lunar calendar and it moves 10 days every year. So, eventually through 34-year cycle, it will be throughout. And they're like, well, how do you do it when it's in the summer? It's very long. It's over 14 hours. How can you do that? I was like, well, you just, it doesn't come all at once, and you're sort of brought up to it gradually, and this is part of your faith, so you do it. And as I was reflecting upon that, I was thinking, and I read in a book that since if you live in one place for 30 odd years, every person, if they stay in that one place, they'll fast the same amount of time as every other person in the world.
Yes.
So it's actually a very equalizing religion in that if it were only during one set month, and for North America it was only during the winter, in Australia it would be the summer, and that wouldn't be fair throughout the whole thing. So it's a very equalizing religion.
Yes, and fairness. And this is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls himself al-adl, the fairness. And you could see there is fairness in everything, only if we reflect. And one of the things, of course, if we notice that some of the Muslim nations work less. They're working hours, 3 or 4 hours a day, and that's not meant. Ramadan is not meant to take it easy. It's meant to be productive. So it's unfortunately you see a lot of Muslims saying we're fasting, so we're not going to work as much, and it shouldn't be that way. And honestly, what I think Ramadan teaches us is you can do everything. We get up early in the morning and we pray, and we go to work, and we eat together as a family. And then those who go to Taraweeh prayer go to Al-Masjid every night and spend an hour, and some people get up and pray. And so you see, you're doing the family things and you're getting together with your friends. You're worshipping Allah. You're doing your work. And that's the beauty. Ramadan teaches us you can do it all. And of course it's a great diet. Maybe you can lose weight too, even though it shouldn't be part of it. We're not fasting to lose weight, but it teaches us to control our urges. Subhanallah.
Yeah, one of the things about Ramadan is that you always you thank God that you were able to live till that year to see it again.
Yes.
And because there's so much blessings in it. And I don't want to comment on the guys that they work less hours. Perhaps they're leaving work early to go to the masajid and pray, and we hope inshallah that they are. For those that aren't, it's a month of blessing, and the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. So for those who take, if they're taking off the day of work and they're doing something productive, like maybe some ibadah, alhamdulillah.
It's meant to be balanced. It shows us that we can balance. As absolutely. I said, for us as a family, we very seldom eat together one meal, maybe once a week. And yet it shows us during the months of Ramadan, we all can get together and we all can. So it shows that we can balance everything.
And I think that's why they say that one should live their whole lives as if they were in the month of Ramadan. Yes. And if you did, then that would be, a very good thing to do. It should be a model. It should be, like you said, a training for how we should live our lives.